Republicans.
Close-minded.
Okay. Democrats.
Kind.
Okay. Climate change or global warming.
Clear science.
Okay. Donald Trump.
Scary.
Okay. Hillary Clinton.
Powerful.
Gay marriage.
Totally acceptable. I think that unions would do better if they were more visionary on how are we going to keep this good, not just for the people today, but for the people in our union 30 years from now.
The Middle East in general.
Oh, what a mess.
Capitalism.
Good to a certain extent, but greed is not always the best thing for society.
Okay. Socialism.
A nice idea, but totally ineffective.
What is the ideal tone that you picture the government creating?
The tone, I think, would be one of optimism and the belief that everybody can succeed if you try hard. But that belief has to then be backed up with actual policies so that people they're not just running into walls every time. In my view, the number one problem with government, the federal government, is gerrymandering. It's the worst part of our government because it ensures that the most extreme on either side get elected into Congress. And how are we supposed to have any sort of compromise and results when everybody's just fighting each other? Everybody's sticking to their values, their belief of how things should be. Nobody wants to hear the other side. They think everybody else is crazy, so nothing gets done. If you had a district filled with people of all different thought processes, then you're naturally going to have to be somewhere in the center to be able to be the best choice for everybody. In order to want to run, you have to have a pretty narcissistic personality. Completely healthy, emotionally healthy people don't want that. So you're already getting a subset of people that are, not the healthiest in my mind. And when I look at the Founding Fathers, there seems to be much more of a purity of intent for what it is. It's not power for power's sake, but power in order to achieve good. I mean, they had just fought for this country, and now they've got this blank slate, and they get to create the dream democracy, which I think they achieved. And it really has become kind of adulterated over time. And now you see people that are running just for love of power. And I think that there's become sort of an anti-intellectualism that has started. I think that a lot of people don't run because the process is so awful. You have to be willing to give up everything about your privacy. The media thinks that it can go into everything that you do, and it's just not something that's not my wheelhouse. I like privacy. Yeah. So you have Rubio, who's basically saying that he's going to make every decision through the lens of faith. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What? Yeah. And yet in the same breath saying, we have to beware of Islam because they want to control everything through Sharia law. I'm like, that's scary. Rubio, you're scary. They seem to think that we really did come from this history of Christianity being tied up with government, and they're just completely wrong. You know what? I think that everybody has the right to believe in God and to follow whatever rules that person thinks that God has set forth for them, but they don't have the right to expect me to follow the rules that they think God has set forth for them. I have to follow all of the laws that are enacted by our government, and then I follow the moral laws that I feel are right. And you don't have the right to tell me what moral laws I have to think is right. See, this is my biggest beef with the Republican Party. It's this whole idea of Christian values, and that if you're liberal, you have no values. It's like, and I'm always thinking to myself, really? Because, I pay my taxes, I don't evade it, I don't have affairs, not doing drugs, I donate money, time to causes, and yet I have no values.
What would you change? about the way the typical Republican thinks or acts or something like that?
It would come back to religion. I would program them to think rationally, not religiously.
Okay. Where do you see the Democrats as shooting themselves in the foot in pursuing their agenda?
I think that they shoot themselves in the foot by believing that government has the answer to every issue. Good luck there. We have Citizens United. We're not getting money out of elections. The Islamic faith is not in line with you get personal choice. It is top down. So I don't know how do we force them to have democracies and to respect it and to respect freedom of the press and freedom of religion. We're not going to be able to create that there. Should be a way for everybody to coexist there. But with Israel continuing to expand territories, that is not the way to do it. I believe that having insurance companies as a profit center creates too much cost in healthcare. I find it incredible that America pays so much for healthcare and is not getting better outcomes. And I think that's because there's too much profit built in at the different levels. If you're the president of an insurance company, you're making millions and millions of dollars. If you're the president of a hospital chain, you're making millions and millions of dollars. That to me is not where the money should go. I think the doctors should make good salaries. I think the nurses should make good salaries. I don't think that there should be profit in providing insurance and for most parts not providing insurance coverage. I think immigration is something that we should embrace. You know, I work with high-tech companies in the Bay Area who simply cannot find sufficient people with the right educational background for the software engineering jobs that they need. So we need more of allowable and easier to obtain visas for technical workers. And then once they're here and they start making money, why are we denying them citizenship? These are people that are contributing to society. And we should have much more open immigration. I think that our military, the best thing about it is that it is the president who is the commander-in-chief. I think that is the most stable form of government that our founders could have possibly imagined to keep the military or the lead person to be non-military.
What if that person ends up being Donald Trump, though?
Oh, God. I don't believe in all of the deductions. I think we should have a lower rate that is at different levels for different income. I mean, I do believe in a progressive system, but I mean, even I benefit from the home mortgage write-off. I don't think that should exist. And it exists only because of lobbying from everybody involved in home sales. But I don't think that owning a home is in everybody's best interest. And I don't think that we should be providing a tax incentive for people to buy a home if it's not in their best interest.
Perfect. So you wouldn't want to move to Denmark or Sweden or Finland or Norway because you wouldn't want to be taxed so heavily?
I would not want to be taxed so heavily.
Okay.
Global warming worries me quite a bit. In 50 years, the world could be completely different as a result of global warming. And at that point, if it's still proceeding at the rate that it is now, there'll be no stopping it.
Right.
There'll just be waiting for the end issue to every problem in society. I don't understand this whole idea that the Second Amendment enables you to have whatever gun and in whatever amount you want. You know, abortion we have a constitutional right to abortion, but it has been regulated to such an extent that In most places, you still can't get one, yet we still have a constitutional right to one. And yet gun enthusiasts believe that you can't do anything to restrict any kind of gun. I can own a machine gun, I can own anything I want, and it can't be restricted in any way because it's my constitutional right. I just don't get that dichotomy. If there was no Second Amendment, I think people should be able to own handguns, rifles, shotguns, I mean, hunting, home protection. Yeah, of course. I just don't think that people should be able to have automatic weapons in the same way you shouldn't be able to have a tank or a rocket launcher. To me, military weapons should not be in the hands of non-military people. I think that the lack of critical thinking is one of the worst problems in our country. That people would rather be told what they're supposed to think than actually think it through themselves. And this rejection of intellectualism, this idea, oh, you think you're better than me? No, I'm just thinking about things. And you should too.